Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how the bell gauge fits William Shakespeare. This is all part of my evidence because I'm trying to demonstrate and give evidence to show that crochet is actually older than is currently recognised. And so I've got the original copy of Shakespeare's comedies, histories and tragedies, and this is the one that was done in 1623. So mine is a copy that was made in 1955. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so I've already shared some other videos and this is all part of like a video diary. So what we're going to do is show you how the bell fits. So you can see the dome of Shakespeare's head. We can see that the dome is actually fitting his head. And if we move the bell gauge slightly over here, we can see that it is matching his hairline there. Oops, I moved that. And we can also do the thing where we can get his eyes to shine through the window. And if I just move this down slightly, so if we look at his eyes, we've got the eyebrow there and we've got the line of his eyes there. So I'm going to try and line up these there, and I'm just going to get my magnifying glass out so you can see. So through the window, I'm sorry that's not focusing very well, is it? Just there. So through the window, we can actually see, I'm just going to pull it down so you can actually see the letter E, okay? And the other thing that we can do is if we line up with his ear and the edge of his hair, we can also get, through the window, we can get another E to shine through the window. I'm sorry if you can't see those very well, but it is definitely there, okay? And then if we turn the bell around, there is actually, so it's really difficult to see from the images, so we can see there is like a scar on his face there. So if we actually line up the bell gauge with the edge of the actual text, we can see that that scar ends up, or that mark, whatever that is, ends up shining through that particular window, okay? Then if we actually move down to this part of the image here, sorry, I'm just trying to get things into the right place so you can see better, and I'm getting a really bad reflection coming off there. So what we can see here is, I was just trying to push that up a little bit more, there. So you can see the bottom of his chin and the bell gauge is actually lining up just there. And through the window, we can see through the window, and you see that, you can see one of his buttons is actually shining through that window, okay? So we're just going to keep that just there. So if I put my hook through there, you know exactly which button that I'm referring to. So it is this button here, whoops, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th button up, which is the 5th letter of the alphabet is the letter E. If we actually line up the collar and the actual bell, so it's actually going around there, we can actually see that there is a number 8 through the window. And we can also see, just get my magnifying glass back out for you. I hope this is working. Oh, sorry. Oh, I can't focus on that one. We are shy, so we can actually see, there we go, it's focusing now. We can actually see that it's just hovering over another button. So that button is that button right just there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the 5th button again, which is showing the letter, the E. And also through the window of the actual bell gauge, we can actually see the number 8. I was explaining in the Voynich manuscript, the number 8 actually represents the treble crochet stitch. Now we've got this edge of the actual part of his fabric there. If we line up the bell gauge, so we've actually got the edge of the bell gauge touching the edge there, and then touching the edge there. And if you can see through this window, should be able to see that there is another number 8, okay, so which is also representing the treble crochet stitch. Okay, so we've already seen, so we've already got some examples of how it's showing me the letter E. So I'm just going to move this down. So if we actually move the bell gauge up, so we've got the dot on Mr. And if we line that up there, we can see that the lining up with the E's just there is an E shining through the window. Yes, there is also other letters, but the focus this point is on the E's. Okay, so and if I turn the bell gauge upside down, and we've got the two letters, the two E's of Shakespeare, we line that up there, and an E shows through the window. So these are my samples of showing how the bell gauge is fitting and that we can actually see. So it fits this shape, it fits the actual letters. And when I was sharing with you with the star, when I've put the star there, the star also showed you the, just move that so it's bigger so you can see it shows you the E through the window when you line up the edges of the collar. Okay, so sorry, just going to move on. So the star, by the way, that pattern, I found that pattern by following all the clues inside the Voynich manuscript, and the bell gauge was the one that gave me the clues to find the actual star pattern. And the star was also the one that gave me the clues to be able to see through the windows, because I could see 9 of the, I'm just going to show you, it's like this symbol here. It looks like a fancy P. Okay, so you can see that through the actual window of the star. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move over to Midsummer Night's Dream, sorry, and I want page 150. Right, so move that over to there. Just going to try and get this in the best place that I possibly can for you to see all of this. So if we actually get the star itself, so here we've got Queen, so we've got the Queen Titania of the Queen of the Fairies. She's actually entering into the scene there. So if we line up the star with the Queen, and we can put the point there, we can see the point lands on love. We've actually got, I'll just get my magnifying glass out so you can see all these words. So you can see the last part of friend, that lines up with love. We've got the Queen just here, and then down the bottom, woo, can I focus that? That actually does say with, and with the very last part there, it looks like the word found because of the way that the letters was done at that point, but it does say sound, but I'm reading it as found. So we've got Queen and found with love. Okay. Also, if we actually put the bell gauge so that the whole has got the Q for our Queen in the middle, we can see that that is actually lining up and it is fitting these lines there. It doesn't happen on all of the pages, by the way. It's just, it is happening on Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, so why am I putting all of these things together to think that this is Queen Elizabeth I? Okay, so there was a poet called Edmund Spenser, and he wrote a poem called The Queen of the Fairies, and in that poem, the Queen Elizabeth I, this is, was, her names in there was Gloriana, just bring over my little finger, so her name was Gloriana and Belle Phoebe. Okay, there's also an image of the Queen where she's actually has what she has as wings on her image. So Spenser, he invented a new stanza which had 9 lines in the actual text, okay? And this star also showed me 9 lots of the letter P. In the Voynich manuscript, Queen Elizabeth I actually was using, so I'm just going to come over, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to just get to my next page. So she was using the number 9 to represent herself, which 9 is the 9th letter of the alphabet is the letter I. Okay, so when I was actually doing my translation, so this P symbol here is actually the I in the Voynich manuscript when I turn the symbols from the Voynich manuscript into English words, okay, or into English letters. Okay, so what I decided to do, because of all of these clues, because this is, just so that you understand, we're at a time when the language is changing. So you've got what was called the Great Vowel Shift, and here you can see the letter U they used a letter V, but you can see it was changing over because in the lowercase they've actually used the letter U there. And if we go back to page 150, just quickly skim back to there, where's the word love? I'm on the right page. It's here. You can see that there is actually spelled L-O-U-E. So it's using the U as the letter V. So we can see things are swapping over. So this is where the language is changing. And in the Voynich manuscript, that is Queen Elizabeth I explaining how the letters of the alphabet are changing. So we've got the letter J gets introduced into the alphabet, because before they just used to have a straight line down for the I, which also represented the I and the J. Here you can see that this, what looks like an F, which I said for that other word down there, is actually the letter S. Okay, so what I decided to do, because there was all these nines, because all the way through the whole of everything I've been doing, my clues have been the 8. The 8 is the treble crochet stitch, which is, this is the actual stitch. So that stitch there is a treble crochet stitch, and that's one post for those people that don't know how to crochet. I'm not counting the chains because you don't, except for the first chain of the round, which is counts as a chain in that scenario. Okay, so so this is actually a pattern which has got 9 stars all the way around, and in the center is a nonagon, which is made of 9 sides, and it's made with a 9 times table. There is 9 rounds, so to be able to make this fit. All of the things that I've been following so far was all clues to help me to find crochet patterns. Okay, and on this particular one, if we actually, so I've been also showing how there is what I'm going to say, it's called a complex anagram. So what you do is you break the letters apart of the alphabet and you rebuild them, and I'll show you a sample in a minute. But for this particular one here, there is 9 stars, and the stars all have 60. There's actually 60 posts in each of those. 60 times 9 is 540, which converts into the word love with a lowercase e. The 9 rounds of the nonagon all add up to 405, which also creates the word love with a lowercase e. And if you add the 540 to the 405 equals 945, which you can then make the word love. So we've got capital letters there, but the U is now representing the V, which is the older version. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move back to Gloriana and Belphoebe. So we know that those 2 words represented Queen Elizabeth I. Okay, so here we can see Gloriana. So if we break it up into pieces, so these lines and these lines there, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines, and then you've got these curved shapes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got the O. That turns into the word crochet. In the Voynich manuscript, that was the first time I came across the word crochet, as in a written version, and Queen Elizabeth I wrote crochet's crochet. We can see that Belphoebe turns into I, Queen's bell. So if we put them together, the way I've got the capital I is just to take off these 2 posts there and move them to there, so that these R's become a lowercase r. So you've got I, Queen's crochet bell. Okay, and then we've also got bell gauge itself actually turns into Elizabeth's, and we've got A, B and E all in lowercase, which is pen, which this is all, it was a whole thing is like a puzzle box kind of game, but it was all written game and crocheting, and that says end. And then we've got bell gauge itself there in lowercase actually creates Elizabeth. Elizabeth in the Voynich manuscript was using the letter S to represent herself, because it would have given the game away if she'd have actually put a Z, because that was number 26, and so if you'd have found 26, then people would have realised there was more letters involved than what was originally there. And the T is a capital T because in the Voynich manuscript, the T-shaped symbol actually represents a Q in the actual English alphabet. So that then leads me back to the bell gauge. So the bell gauge, I'm showing, everything is showing me that it actually was made by Queen Elizabeth I, and that she was using it in the 1500s, and it was used to be able to do Shakespeare's image. Let's just find Shakespeare again. Just get back to Shakespeare, and just to show you so we can just see his eyes looking at us, because I kind of like that one. That's one of my favourite bits. But anyway, so Mademoiselle Rigaud de Lebrun-Chardière, she patented the bell gauge in 1847. That, if you break that around and use the complex anagrams, becomes I love with a lowercase e, or love you, which has got the U, which was how they were saying that they were swapping over these letters in the alphabet. Okay, so this year is 400 years since this book was published, because this was published in 1623. And this year is also 465 years since Queen Elizabeth I became queen, because she became queen on the 17th of November 1558. And this year is also a special year for our King Charles, because on the 14th of November this year he's going to be 75 years old. Now, I know that the King absolutely loves Shakespeare, so I hope that you don't think that I've spoiled Shakespeare for you. But the whole point of all of what I'm trying to do is to prove that I have been able to translate these things inside the Voynich manuscript, that this, like this one here, does make this triangle, which did reveal to me. Let's just, well, I've got the wrong triangle on, move that out of my way. If we put the triangle in the right place, did reveal through we can't do that because of that bit there. So through the window, you could see the letter J, which was my clue for King James. So it was linking all of these things together. So I'd already made the rose, which the rose was a clue for the Tudor rose because of the Queen, and the love that we're on about. So the heart is made, so inside the Voynich manuscript on this page here, that word there is an anagram of the word crochet, and when you crochet up those symbols, they make you one of these hearts, which the heart is love. And this one was called the blanket of time because this one was telling me like we'd got the 24 hours in the day, and I've done a different video and we've got 52 of these to represent 52 weeks of the year. So I really, really do hope that I've provided enough information and enough evidence to demonstrate and to prove that the Voynich manuscript is actually, for want of a word, a coded book. I know that they're using the Caesar code. We're using these symbols actually make up crochet patterns, and they actually make up words as well. And that I've demonstrated enough to be able to prove that this is Queen Elizabeth I, and that the bell gauge, I think that the Queen Elizabeth I also invented the bell gauge. And I almost forgot one more thing. So on Shakespeare's image here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 buttons. On the bell gauge, if we can see there, that is number 14. I'm sorry, I've got reflection things going off. So that is number 14, and number 14 is the 4mm crochet hook. And where's my star gone? The star and the triangle and everything else I all made with the 4mm crochet hook, which actually fits all of these things. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing. Bye for now.